stuff from home. TV's broken and my dad's cigars. They lie but they don't make smoke. The sun is setting on our cold again. They love but they don't see the tapping fingers and what they mean. Careful planning is a waste of time. Be my 17 already. It's almost closing time. And I'm a little lime blue, somewhere in the middle, in a little bit of you. Everything they said was true. I'm a little lime blue, somewhere in the middle, in a little bit of you. Everything they said was true. You forget the thought of being scared of the simple thing. This plastic taste, it's all a face. It's only held by strings. Feel the air, I'll get in your hair and neck. Spill it on your favorite tank top. Driving by your drinks that you bought. Careful planning is a waste of time. But be my 17 already. It's almost closing time. I'm a little lime blue, somewhere in the middle, in a little bit of from you. Oh no, everything they said was true. I'm a little lime blue, somewhere in the middle, in a little bit of from you. Everything they said was true. I'm a little lime blue, somewhere in the middle, in a little bit of from you. Oh no, everything they said was true. I'm a little lime blue, somewhere in the middle, little bit of from you. Everything they said was you.
I'm Nick, and this is Slayden, and this is Kenny, and this is Marcus, and this is Karsten, and this is Joey, also known as the Break Room Animals. So,
Welcome.
Thanks for having us, man.
definitely.
First question: how did y'all meet each other?
Belmont, man.
But well, I assume that. But like, what's the story behind all y'all
The
meeting
way
each
I
other?
met Kenny, I was
We're not gonna go on a timeline. We're just gonna start anywhere, right?
I was just saying.
Somewhere in the middle.
Damn.
Work your way back.
I have a system to this.
I was a move-in and like I knew nobody, and I was just putting all my stuff inside my new single because I was living all by myself in Pembroke, and then all of a sudden this tall blonde kid comes up to me and he's just like, "Hey, how you doing?" And he gives me like a formal handshake, and it was like very, it was like a lot, and I was like, "Wow, this guy's intense," but I like him a lot. And I would occasionally see him here and there, and then. Like,
He's talking about that tall blonde. Not this
Hey,
tall
there we
blonde.
go.
There you go.
Hey, Sandy Blonde.
And I met Karsten at a jam sesh. and
Oh
then
yeah, that's right.
I met Marcus at a
A popsicle social where I thought
Those
that he
stupid
was,
Belmont
like-
socials, man.
I mean, Kenny was my roommate freshman year.
Oh, okay.
So we were rooming together, and then I met Joey, like you said, at a jam session. We played like 2 hours together at that jam
2
session.
hours.
It
Was that
crazy.
in Chris Rousseau's room?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I remember like jamming with Joey for the first time, and it was really, really cool. And I don't mean to like stroke your dick or anything, but literally like as we're playing, everyone in the room, like Chris is jamming and Karsten's playing, and everyone's going like, "Holy shit, this guy knows how to play the guitar!" And like it was really, really cool. And that was actually probably my first experience, like actually our first time us actually ever playing together. And then because of the whole practice room situation, then you get to actually play with each other.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
2 times like a year, unless you live off campus.
I never played music back in my hometown with the people who played the same style as I did, and so these guys were like essentially the first people I ever played music with. So it was just kind of like
It just kind of clicked.
It just kind of clicked in this way. I was like, wow, like this was kind of like meant to be.
Yeah,
you know?
that's awesome.
After 18 years, it's just kind of like finding like people you just jam well with.
Yeah, it's hard to find something like that, so it's
Very
cool to hear that
difficult.
you did.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was what was it? TT or something
Oh,
like that.
How We Met You.
Oh, it was at the.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
what
this
is
the
it called?
walrus thing?
Yeah.
I was with Alex Yanichik, and we were walking down towards the bell tower, and I was talking to him, and I was like, the way you make friends is you just say something random to somebody. He's like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah, watch. And I turn around, and this guy happened to be right behind me, and I was
Standing by myself
what's
in
your,
this crowd.
like, what's your scale of 1 to 10? How do you feel about walruses? And he was
I
like,
was like, oh, they're
solid
fucking
10.
great.
Yeah, solid 10. And I was like, sweet. Then he just hung around us for the rest of the night. And I was like,
I love that. He
That's
was like,
the
he
way to
wouldn't
do it.
leave.
Yeah,
Like, he was
this
just
guy
behind us
attached
the whole
to us
time.
Like a leech.
Like, all right.
a leech. I was just gonna say like he tagged along.
Hey, leeches are just tagging along.
Leech
They're there
works.
for the ride.
Leeches tag along.
Yeah.
They just tag along really close.
Yep.
Yeah.
A little too close.
Oh, we didn't even acknowledge we got Ryan right here.
Yeah. So,
Thank
wait,
you.
come here for a second.
Come on, for
Take a bow. Take a bow. Come on.
Think about
I feel bad if you didn't get acknowledged.
Drummer
Ryan
extraordinaire.
is filling in for drums right now, and he has been absolutely amazing. We've had terrible experience with fill-ins before, and we talked to Ryan, like, I think near the end of last semester, and we're like, hey, is this something you'd be interested in? He's like, yeah, I really like where you guys
There he is.
are going, and it was so, just like I said, we've had terrible experiences with fill-in, whether they're like being high or just like not learning the songs. And like literally he came in and like just for a jam session to get to know each other better before playing, and he literally knew Line Blue and our other song Be My 17 like from heart, note for note, and it was like I literally couldn't help myself. I'm like, oh, thank you for not being a son of a bitch. Like,
that's
oh,
nice.
like it was just so like finding a really like steady drummer is one thing, but also finding like a really steady drummer who's like a genuine nice person or genuinely nice person is like it really worked out. Ryan's the man. He's like made this all possible.
There we go.
That's nice of him.
All right, so in terms of sonic influence, I know you have some different views between like pop punk, Karsten, Joey. I know you have some hard rock influence, but
Yeah.
in terms of bands for all of you, who are some of your different influences?
Say it at the same time.
3, 2, 1.
1975. Yeah, we are
Very
the
nice.
like. I remember
my
I came
God.
into school thinking like I came only like pop punk and hard rock and like metalcore, and I was like I'm not gonna be that basic hipster Belmont kid that I'm seeing who's just like in love with all these and before I finished my sentence I'm like God, you heard Chocolate by the 1975? Like yeah, we that was kind of one of our first musical influences that like we all really agreed on, and it's funny because like it's the stereotypical 14-year-old girl. I love the 1975.
It's so fun.
But like
we
we love it.
It was coming into college, like before. I mean, in high school, I was kind of like a metalhead. I would listen to like classic, like Metallica, Judas Priest, Van Halen, and all that stuff. But like, I never really wanted to express my love for like pop music because I felt it was just kind of like, oh, it's pop music.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
I went to college, and all of a sudden I was around a bunch of songwriters, it was just like this vibe kind of changed, and I kind of like chilled out a lot. And bands like
You're not as angsty.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. I mean, like I was the biggest Nirvana fan in like 8th grade, but
That's
then
good stuff.
And I mean you're as all of us, not specifically you.
I don't know if you guys.
You were an
talk
angsty. No.
It's fun. It's funny because like the 1975 isn't angsty, but yet they are like one of the most angsty bands I've ever seen in my life. You know
It's
what I'm
so-
trying to say?
Yeah.
I used to hate the 1975.
Me too, I used to hate
like
them
back
too.
in high school, I couldn't
What
stand
changed
them.
it?
I don't know.
So,
I think this must be my dream.
my girlfriend essentially got me into it, and then I got all these guys into it, and then
That's really how it happened. It was because he would just play it more, and I think what musically, I mean, yeah, they write great songs, but I think what we really fell in love with is that they really like, I don't know, the way the band talks and you see them in interviews, they very much talk about how, when we write songs, we don't necessarily try and make it sound super 80s stereotypical pop, and like we really kind of fell in love with the way they write songs and how they kind of challenge how repetitive they can be with all those challenging how original they can be. And I very much, one of my favorite attitudes in music is the punk rock attitude, and you don't exactly have to play punk rock to have the punk rock attitude. And I think the 1975 as a group, not musically, has a huge punk rock attitude, is that they're going to do what caters to millennials, but they're also like we know what we're doing and we're gonna do what we want. And I think, at least personally, me, I really enjoyed that about them.
And I think through that band, all of a sudden started listening to like stuff like the band Camino. I mean, through listening to this new, since we all started embracing pop music, and that all of a sudden we were starting to listen to the bands like Band Camino, Bad Sons, and all of a sudden like indie rock became like the soundtrack to like our friendship.
Yeah.
Because all before we were like, let's all listening to our own thing, and I mean, like we had some similar tastes, but like when we all hung out, all of a sudden, it just became kind of, it just felt right to listen to like songs that you could just sing like something on the radio. Because then all of a sudden we had something to relate about. And
Yeah, that you could all kind of unify under.
Yeah, and I think that when we decided to form this band, I think that was what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
I think this band is essentially the soundtrack to our lives right now, and I think
That's the best way to do it.
yeah, and
That's never thought of it like that, but that's it's very touching. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I tried to be sentimental once. I tried to not be a sarcastic asshole.
And we're
once,
gonna
and I
cut it down to
nailed it.
1. That's enough of
That was
that.
great
Right.
to see
Oh
you
my
guys.
gosh.
I thought it was sentimental.
Along with that, I know that we've been roommates for about a year now, and there are certain songs that we'll hear that will bring us back to a certain time. And
Like being in the
so
dorms.
I could definitely see, especially it being your own music, hearing it years from now, you can kind of it kind of is a journal to your life.
yeah.
We were actually talking about that in the car like a couple days ago. Just saying, I remember I was talking to Joey and I said, you know, it's gonna be crazy because you know, like we might go our separate ways, and we maybe we won't listen to the songs we used to in college, and then like something will happen and we'll like, oh, I haven't listened to this band in a really long time. We'll listen to it and just it's all gonna come back.
Yep.
And I mean, I don't want like a life to keep like, you know, I mean, I want to be old, but I mean, like I'm really excited for that time when I can just listen back to old music and be like, I used to be cool. Like, you know,
But it's something that you did. It's like I
Yeah.
can look back at this. It's like something real almost.
Yeah.
That
We
growth
put, like-
and being proud of it.
With
Yeah,
the
that's
fact
it.
that we put so much effort into it, and the fact that this has essentially become like a top priority for us, and so like I think it's just like the effort will show and wherever it goes, and I think mostly it's just gonna be something really fun to look back on,
Yeah.
especially with the early stages stuff, and like it's just gonna be so great.
Yep. 'Cause I got
What's
both prime.
your favorite movie? Each
Favorite
person.
movie. God.
I know what it is.
Oh God.
I know what it is.
I think I know what it is too.
Oh, the Shawshank Redemption.
That's a
No,
good
was
one.
it?
No,
I was gonna say, yeah, I was gonna say
Titanic.
Titanic.
Oh,
I thought you. That's
I
what you were
mean,
gonna say.
That's also a good
that's
one.
up there, but like
Well, it's on your arm.
You literally have a tattoo of it on your arm. Favorite. Oh crap! I was too busy railing at him. I didn't think about it.
happened?
That's how 99% of every time we're talking.
Captain
to each
Karma
other goes.
rides a swift horse.
What?
Captain Karma rides a swift horse.
Is
You
that
said,
a movie?
you know what yours is?
No, I don't know. I'm really into a lot of. Oh, you know what? I changed my mind. Super 8.
Super.
That's a good one. I've
I
seen that movie a
love Steven
lot of
Spielberg.
times.
That is just one of my favorite
That's a
movies.
good
I
one.
grew up doing really crappy self-made film. I'm a video production major.
Oh, okay.
And me and my friends used to make these really crappy war films, and like I totally relate to having that group of ragtag kids
Yeah.
who everyone's yelling at each other. I was the director, so I was usually the one being the fat asshole. I was fat at the time too, so it was perfect. You know, and like, yo, we gotta do this, and like action, and that whole aesthetic was super relatable to me.
Mhm.
And on top of it, it's just a great movie.
Yep.
Like that was one of those where I was surprised and didn't do as well as I thought it
Yeah,
was going
yeah.
to.
That is
For
strange.
sure.
I never even heard of it.
What,
Super 8?
You
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
watch it.
Fantastic.
I have a really hard time picking favorite movies
That's
and
fair.
favorite songs
that's
because
fair.
Wes
because
Anderson.
I'm so. Oh, you're right, Wes Anderson. I love Wes Anderson as a director. A lot of times my favorite movies and songs are kind of like where I am in my life, but I would say Thank you for reminding me about
Fantastic Mr. Fox,
that.
right?
I love Fantastic Mr. Fox,
That's a good one.
and I love Grand Budapest Hotel.
I actually haven't seen that.
Yeah,
I
you
need to
have-
watch that.
you
I need
should-
to see that
The
one.
thing I love about Wes Anderson is he is so. It's such the opposite of like my own kind of mentality because like I'm very much a let things happen, you know, like whatever happens happens. But he's a master of controlling what's on the camera and what gets shown and what the color palette is.
Yeah.
And Grand Budapest Hotel, it feels like you're like constantly looking through a window that doesn't move and it's just things happening. In Fantastic Mr. Fox is like that too.
Yeah.
It's even more controlled because it's claymation, but I don't know, just something about it. It's just so quirky and like the visuals.
But
are really
so
cool.
refined
It's
and intentional. That's the other.
It's kind of like it's kind of like Napoleon Dynamite, except like very very like rigid.
No, I see
I
what you
don't know.
mean.
Yeah,
'Cause,
no, I know
Napoleon
what you're
Dynamite isn't like incredibly hilarious,
It's not.
but it's like it's like a classic because of the way like it's made. Like everything is done intentionally in that movie.
That intentional low effort type thing.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I don't know. I just
Yeah, you're right.
Wes Anderson. But if I were to say like what currently I really like, it's gonna sound really crappy. I'm kind of a sucker for romance.
Hey,
and
there's nothing wrong with that.
I watched
Everybody
When
needs a
Harry
little
Met
romance.
Sally a
Oh,
little bit
okay.
ago, and I thought it was really good.
Pretty good. Hey, there we
That
go.
was a really good movie, and I'd love to watch it again.
I'd say one of my favorites, because I'm not sure if I could pick my favorite either, but it's probably Pulp Fiction by Quentin Tarantino.
Classic.
And the thing that I would say is the best about Quentin Tarantino is just dialogue. There's no one else better at doing dialogue, because it just sounds like, it doesn't sound like it's scripted at all. It just sounds like
They're
regular
going.
people having regular conversations
for sure.
and stuff.
Yep.
Oh wait, can I do two?
Hey,
Oh,
not stopping you.
all right. So Super 8 and then Gran Torino. That movie focuses on a lot of the negative qualities about people, and I think in art, when you focus on the worst parts of people, that's when it does well, because the negative parts of people are the most interesting. Like,
Very true.
you know, you can
That's
say
cool.
like, you know, Tom's a real swell guy, but you can't make a movie about that. You can write a movie about how Tom has a drinking problem and used to be in a band when he was 14, and then it
Yep.
never worked out. But like that, you know, that itself is like, yeah, the negative qualities about people you could like talk for hours on. It's like you can be like, yeah, I'm a good person. That's boring.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Because it's what
That is
everyone
interesting.
wants you to think about them all the time. For the most part, I'm painting in broad brushstrokes, but at some
No,
point
yeah.
it's like, all right, we get it. Everybody's happy, but that's not
Yeah.
how it actually is.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
the
for
balance, the 50-50
And
split. That we
As
all have to
sadistic as
walk.
it is, people love conflict, and people like the most. One of the most I think watched like kind of shows I think is like crime, like Law and Order, like SVU specifically. Like people are so messed up that they love hearing and watching these shows about people being, you know, assaulted and murdered, and it shouldn't be the way it is. But like I love Law and Order SVU. And I'm not saying because I like it because I'm a serial killer.
Yes.
Yet.
Yeah, exactly. The
But it's
future
just
is
people are
balanced.
drawn to it. People are drawn to the most dramatic and messed up things that they can think of. Usually, Human
you think-
Centipede didn't do so well.
Yeah,
That
that
was
is
a-
true.
That was a little
that might
too
be
much.
pushing a little bit. But do you think it's because maybe our lives are so sterile in terms of like, oh, we don't have to survive, or anything
Absolutely.
like that we almost like crave some of that?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
We hate
input?
like doing the same thing over and over
Yeah.
again, so we
I-
want to see something
I would-
completely different.
Yeah.
I would almost argue though, and that same wavelength about the negative stuff. I think Joe and I were talking about this too. That it's kind of becoming trendy. You know what I mean? Like
For sure,
being
Oh.
depressed,
for sure.
being like being depressed, being sad, having problems. It is starting to get a little trendy, and I don't know what that means exactly, and I don't know. I've noticed like it's true. People like negative
yeah.
stuff, and we live in a negative world, and it's.
But it's not a negative world. I don't think. I think that it's
I
a
agree.
50-50 split, and you can look at.
Definitely.
I
Yeah,
mean,
so
yeah,
I
it
agree.
definitely it's like depends on how you look at it. But
Exactly.
like I completely agree.
I
with
agree
that,
with
and
that,
that's
too.
Part of the reason like I really have gotten into writing music is because, or at least specifically the music that we've been writing is that I know people who have struggled absolutely terribly with mental health, and I agree. I've seen mental health almost become like a trend. Like it's almost as terrible as it is to say, cool to
Yeah.
have kind of a problem, whatever. And like I think that is just so disingenuous and insulting to the. Because to the people who actually have problems,
It's
they're
like-
not posting about it all the time, you know? They're usually struggling to post anything at all.
Mhm.
And that's kind of a message I want to tackle, and some stuff coming up is that, you know, it's a trend, and it's like we kind of want to, I don't know. Well,
I think
yeah.
something I want to say for if anybody's listening, it's just if you feel like you have something inside, go see somebody. Like do something about it, because like I think we've all here have struggled immensely. I mean, we're living in an era of a generation of just kids who just like they don't know how to deal with these things, and they're more aware of it. And I feel like just going out there and just getting the necessary help is the most important thing.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's harder to see now because, almost in the sense like, I don't mean in the sense of trendy, but like for example, like we joke with each other all the time, like maybe he'll say something to him, and then I'll try something funny, and was like that was stupid, and I was like, I'll just go kill myself. Like, and we'll say it as a joke, but I think almost because of that, it's almost harder to see it because it's almost like people joke about it, and
Yeah.
I'm huge into stand-up comedy, and I don't necessarily think there's stuff you can't joke about, but I think when you're actually talking about it seriously, I think it's very hard to tell when it's a problem because it's so prevalent in mainstream society.
Definitely. I think some of that also would just come down to like the person, because there for sure are people like Slayden and I are both really into the like SoundCloud, like underground, like some of that stuff.
Awesome.
And definitely in a big part of that, like some of our favorite artists came out and they were starting to make more like depressed, like emotional type stuff that a lot of people back then weren't making.
Yeah.
But now it's slowly become really popular because they kind of got popularity out of
Well,
it.
I think one of those things is people are looking up to these people like heroes, like in the sense that when you see somebody like singing a song about battling depression and they're on a stage in front of 20,000 people, I think that gives like people like that person's an idol to a person struggling with that too.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, even though they have the same problems as me, but they're performing in front of thousands of people, or they're making music that I'm crying to, or they're making music that I'm like laughing to, and like they're doing all these things, and these people become idols, and it's like it's scary because like these people start off just as like any other person, just making music about how they felt, and all of a sudden they're getting attention, and it's just like they become these people who have the choice, like what can my image bring to somebody who's watching me? Or
Yeah, definitely. It's not, and I don't mean it like it's all negative. Like, you're exactly right. Like, some, like, people talking about mental illness more is definitely a positive thing. And the fact that it's become more, like, exactly, like, when you see someone you look up to singing about something, like, it shows, like, people can, you know, be more open about the problems. Like, oh, like, I've dealt with the same thing. And exactly what he said, like, that person's singing to 10,000 people, and they have anxiety, depression, etc. And I think that is incredibly empowering.
I'll never forget it. I mean, like I remember seeing Chris Cornell do a solo show, acoustic show. I drove like 3 hours with my dad, and this is a guy who was like my hero. And unfortunately, like last summer, he killed himself.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and I mean, I got a tattoo because it was the first time I felt like it was like this person who you listen to his lyrics and you've been talking about that stuff for decades, and you never would actually think that like anything would happen, but it just goes to show how real it is.
Yeah.
And how I know people who like, and I know family who've like done terrible things like to themselves, or and it's just like it just shows how real things can get, man.
For sure. I think that one good thing about some of that though is, and again, this is like person to person, like if someone isn't being genuinely themselves in the first place, I think that in most genres they won't really find success. I mean, you can like rip other people off for so long until it's like, all right, you gotta like be yourself. So in terms of like disingenuine emotions, just going for a certain trend, that'll fall off at some point, I'd assume. But I think that for some people, like, there's so much on social media and stuff like that. And it's getting better, but like the vast majority of people are always, hey, yo, look at this, I'm happy, blah, 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 look at this. But our whole generation really isn't. I mean, not completely, but like...
Social media is absolutely awful.
Yeah,
It's
horrible.
so, especially with anyone who
horrible.
deals with mental illness, like, so, because you're constantly comparing yourself to these people who are portraying their lives as the most wonderful things in the world. I was
really not.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm in a interpersonal communication class, and my professor was talking about she knew someone who did social media professionally for some artist, and she said after that person was done doing it for like a year, they got rid of all their social media. Because she's like, even when you're just she's like, I will work with it for a client, I don't use it, and I don't let my kids use it. Because it is, because they say it is just so toxic. And I completely understand. There was like a time, you know, my freshman year of college where I literally was constantly focusing on like, you know, how many likes am I getting? Do I look stupid in this picture? And like I said, I used to be very overweight when I was a kid. And like, even though I've thinned out, I constantly worry about that all the time. And so I'm just like, I need to be liked. I need to be liked. This person got like 120 likes of a banana. What the hell am I doing? And social media never compare yourself to anyone because no one is as awesome and as carefree as they say they are. That's just what we're
And no one
kind of
can be
taught
you.
to do.
You're doing your own
What's so
thing. It's like no
scary,
one else
though?
can do that.
Yeah.
Is to create a brand and to create an image. It's so essential. Like, I'm in charge of the social media as of right now, and it's just come to the point where I'm like, okay, what can I do? And I say it out loud, and it makes me kind of cringe a little bit. It's because the mentality you have to have as a person who runs social media for a band is, what can I do to get more attention? And I'm the type of guy who, I mean, like, I'm loud, I like to have fun, but I would never like to be like the center of attention. I never want to be. I'm like, hey, look at me, look what I'm doing. But like that's the goal.
Yeah.
When you do stuff, when you're trying to create a brand, and when you're trying to do that, there's no modest way of trying to be like, hey, we're a band, come look at your stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
You have
Gotta
to
a
be
little
bold.
aggressive, Yeah.
You have to be aggressive, and sometimes that requires just being somebody that you're not. But like. The thing is, the problem with social media is like when you follow a band, you follow an artist, you follow them because these people seem like unreal. It's like these people like are like gods, and like they can edit pictures all day long and then make themselves look like awesome and all that stuff.
Yep.
And I think me personally, I agree with Kenny. It's just like it got to the point where I started like just like why am I comparing myself to somebody? Because then I'd see the same person an hour later, and then it just could be a completely different conversation from what they were posting.
Yeah, exactly.
Seeing someone that you know specifically from social media in person, and then having a conversation with them, and they're not the same as the way they portray themselves, it's kind of awkward.
Oh yeah, we have
it can be.
one of our friends. I won't say who. He's super funny. Like he literally like totally exaggerates his life on social media, specifically like his Snapchat story. You guys might know who I'm talking about.
I know exactly who you're
But like
talking
literally,
about.
like we went to Play, which is a club in Nashville the other night, and like literally like we went there and like we love going to Play, but it was just kind of like a lame night. Like it was me, my girlfriend Marcus, and our friend, and we just kind of weren't feeling it, and so we were like, hey, we're probably gonna head out. He's like, all right, yeah, and we left, and like his Snapchat story the next morning was the funniest thing in the world. He's like, woke up at 4:30, partied so hard. He's like, I can't even like, or like, he'll be like, he'll take a Snapchat. He's like, how did I get these 2 beers? And then my girlfriend will be like, because I bought them, and you were next to me when I bought. Like, it's like, how did I get this? I am just party all the. I don't even know where I am. Like, they're just creating this image of like how crazy and wild they are, and we know them. They're not. They're loud, but they're not.
Yeah.
For sure.
Maybe another question.
He's a
Oh,
great
do you
guy.
wanna-
He's a
do you
great
wanna-
friend,
you
by
wanna
the way.
do
I'm
one
not
more?
I feel
trashing
like
him, but
we
he's.
go down kind of like a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We kind of got going there for a
Oh,
while.
yeah.
But it was good
That's
stuff.
the way.
I had a list, Dak. No.
I kind of want to use the classic,
Go
but
ahead,
I don't know
ask
if we
us
want to use
ask
it.
us a
too much.
classic.
One classic, one
Classic.
unique.
All right,
Alright,
let me
toss
throw
a
it out.
classic.
Okay,
Hit us up.
bear versus shark.
Okay.
The water level is right below the bear's
Well,
nipples,
Belly button. To
Okay, yeah.
nipple deep.
There we go.
Okay.
and the shark is the same size as the bear.
Shark.
Okay. Really?
Shark.
Shark.
Yeah.
Shark, dude.
How? What
But
kind?
the bear can see through the water.
Okay, what kind of shark are we talking about? Because like
Yeah,
sharks
it's
can be
sure.
like that big.
Well, he said
No,
the same
he said the
size.
same, like,
Oh, yeah,
Wait,
no,
wait,
yeah,
it's
you
like
said
an
same
8
size.
foot, yeah.
Yeah, never mind. I'd say shark definitely because sharks can move like really, really quickly. From what I'm not a shark
Question.
expert, but like
Yeah.
they get one big ass bite and you're like, oh, there's a hole in my kidney, liver, and spleen. So either way, oh, like shark would just have to bite and then swim away, and just circle him, and then he'll fall over, and then that shark has lunch.
Question. Is there land close by to the bear, or is he just like
No.
out?
And
He's
The bear's
can't-
just
you
running
can't
into the
run.
water and then
So
running
you
back.
can't
He's
run.
standing up. He's standing up.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's
Uh,
fucked. I don't
Sorry,
know what to
bear.
tell you.
There's
I don't know. I think it depends on who sees who first. You know what I mean? Because I think if the bear sees the shark first,
Same time.
then he's got
Same-
same.
No. We're just like completely hypothetical. Like same time, no one can run head to head. Well, I mean, you can swim away and like circle, like you were saying. Like,
I don't
but
know.
you
Bears
can't
can capture
actually-
fish, but like
I say they
don't know.
become friends and become the coolest fucking superhero you've ever seen.
I
Bear
think that-
riding a shark.
I think
There it is.
I'm gonna say bear. I think bear would win. Just cause like a shark, it's got a mouth, and like once it's done, it's not moving.
That
the bear
is-
has
and
arms.
It can't swim
It
backwards.
has a mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Like the bear can move. Like I feel like a bear could
Waves
take
the
a shark bite.
falls.
Yeah,
I
that's
feel-
what I'm saying.
I
The,
feel like
the
a bear
shark
could take
bites
a
on
shark bite.
unless it severs through completely. And
It
keeps
depends
swimming
what part of
forward,
the shark
The bear's going
or what
directly
part-
for
yeah.
the head. for sure.
It depends what part the shark bites. Because if
That's
it bites a leg, it's like, ow.
But is it biting through the leg? Just
Because there's some arteries around the leg too. That
Oh yeah, like right
That's
here.
true.
Is that the same for a bear?
Maybe the
Wait,
bear
hold
could
it.
kill the shark,
A
but then
shark,
it'd bleed
a
out.
shark can swim pretty fast. So what if it
use the
gets
momentum.
the leg
yeah.
and the momentum, he falls underwater?
Yeah.
I think the bear would kill the shark, but then the bear would die from blood loss.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
can
it
see
is.
that.
So like I think the bear would kill
Nobody wins when it comes to
So
violence.
we should just make a friendship.
Yeah.
Bear on the shark's back.
You see,
Shark,
yeah, exactly.
bear.
We'll work on the
We're all
Cartoon Network
friends.
show.
Shark bear.
Shark bear.
But
Bear tooth.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyone?
Last
No?
one?
Alright.
You got another one?
No, I think that's all we got for today. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. It's been a good time.
Thank you
Hey,
guys.
Thank you
Sure.
so much.
All right.
Never wanted to sleep alone. You were much too good for that game. I glanced through magazine pages. Can't believe you were locked on. Shame. Shame. God knows something happened to you. God knows what you're thinking. Gotcha, like you never would, but you did it. Think you know it all, but you're so young. Can't tell you how you hold your tongue. Sit back, pick away my mind. You think you know it all, but you're so young. Can't tell you how you hold the gun. It's fucked and that's fine. Making pictures in our great silence. Epidemic, but a bit overdone. Can't contain when ever lived in a box and working 9 to 5. I used to hide weight your socks. I'd love to sit down and chat, but I'm too busy growing up with cassettes. Type pity, but lose at the end. Geniality is only for the birds again. I'd love to sit down and chat, but I'm too busy growing up with cassettes. Type pity, but lose at the end. Geniality. I think you know it all, but you're so young. Can't tell you how you hold your tongue. Sit back, pick away my mind. You think you know it all, but you're so young. Can't tell you how you hold the gun. It's fucked and that's fine. I'd love to sit down and chat, but I'm too busy growing up the latest cassettes. Type pity, but lose at the end. Geniality is only for the birds, I guess. I'd love to sit down and chat, but I'm too busy growing up the latest cassettes. Type pity, but lose at the end. Geniality is only for the birds, I guess.
I'm Marcus.
I'm Karsten.
I'm Joey.
And we are the Breaker Manimals, and you're watching Just Two Guys Talking. Check out our new single, Be My 17, on Spotify and on all other platforms. Thanks.